Roll our tunes.
Is it raining?
It is.
No?
No, it's not raining here.
Okay.
It's raining by the John Wayne, though.
It's flipping weather, people. It's 15% chance of rain, and it's 86% of chance of rain in like 3 minutes. How can you go from 15% to 86% in like 3 minutes?
Because technology, it now has sensors in clouds that it follows. No, I don't know.
Oh, my God. Hey, everybody. Welcome, Instagrammers. We're live. This is another edition of For the Love of Dog. I'm with Gary Newcomb. Gary's our head dog trainer. Yes, I just promoted him. He's our head dog trainer now. Didn't even know it.
Here comes the big bucks.
It's no more lack of funding.
Yeah, it's still one of those honorary. It comes with a lot more duties, but a lot less pay.
You said duties. Dad joke. Anyway, great day yesterday. We were at, what's the name of Mackenzie? What's the name of the? Bruheim? Bruheim in Anaheim. How could I forget that?
Yeah, seems to roll off the tongue.
Great brewery. They treated us very, very, very well. Very sweet people. A lot of good dog people. What'd you think, Mackenzie? You had a good time, yeah? Mm-hmm. Mackenzie is filling in for Nicole today.
Dogs and beer. How can you go wrong?
Dogs and beer. You can't go wrong. But anyway, we're treated very well. It's very nice. Very successful. So a good time. Didn't rain on us too much. Not too much. But anyway, enough of that. What's going on with you?
Working.
Nothing.
Nothing. I wish nothing. You got me running everywhere.
I know I kept you busy. I know you had at least one session a day, I think.
Yep. One session a day for you guys. I went up to the valley. That was kind of a drive.
Oh, that's right.
In the rain.
That's right. It was a bad day too, wasn't it? Was that Thursday or Friday?
Thursday.
Okay. Encino.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that was kind of a bummer, but
well, I know the nation's coming off of a lot of controversy, and depending on if you're a Democrat or Republican, you're either crying in your beer or you're on cloud nine. But I don't want to talk about politics, but because we're in this emotional state and we're so frustrated, I want to take a beat. I want to talk about emotion and body language and energy and how that pertains to dogs and how important your energy and your emotional state is when you're dealing with dogs. I think a lot of us, especially me, I'm a very emotional person. I work on that daily, not to be so emotional. But Gary, I really want to dive into this. I know you have an article we can even talk about that's apropos, but I want to talk to people how important it is when you're dealing with your dog. It really is more about your body language and your emotion and your energy to get what you want, and less. I didn't realize how much less until you brought this study that I want to talk about, but it's not so much about your voice. It's not the words.
It's not the words or the commands.
It is all about your energy and what you're trying to get the dog to do. So it's even more important that when you are dealing with your dog that you have a plan.
Yeah.
And not use emotion. Yep. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you run on emotion, that energy level is going to confuse your dog. They don't know the ups and downs. They don't operate like that.
That's right.
They try to stay on a constant, and it's excitement, but they don't really dip below the line into any kind of. And when you get below into any kind of anger or something, it's just an irrationality to them. They have no clue as to why you're acting that way. You're just not rational.
And I think as trainers, we know this. This isn't new information. However, what's new to me, and I find this so fascinating, is this study that you're going to talk about and how, I already knew it was important, but now you have math behind it and science behind it.
Yeah, you're a math guy.
Yeah, and it's even so much more one-sided than even I thought. So I want you to talk about that.
Yeah. So the article is actually on human interaction and how we communicate. And they did the study, and they said that basically only 7% of what you deduct out of information is from the actual words. So that 93% is from nonverbal communication. And they figured that it was around 55% body language and 35%, 55% body language and 38% tone of voice is how we deduct it. So, you could take anything and say it in a different way. How's it going? How's it going?
Right.
So you can bring it in different ways, and we as people will separate it. But a lot of people don't realize that how much we put into the nonverbal.
Right.
A lot of people put stake in words, and especially these days,
right.
People are at the ends of their wits on words that they're reading. So I agree with you that I think that most people think that, it's probably more verbal than it is. And dogs operate on the same scale.
Right.
It's probably around the same ratio. Obviously, we don't have a straight vocabulary test that we can do to them to do this kind of
right. What are you getting? What you're not
yeah,
getting?
exactly.
Right.
But they operate on the same system. So what I always tell my clients is when you see two dogs barking, or we'll start with two dogs on opposite sides of the wall.
Right.
Your neighbor's dog. Your dog does not know what the neighbor's dog is talking about. There are no words in that. It's not any kind of communication like that. It basically, this is the level I'm at.
Right.
They're only deducting the tone and volume.
Right.
So if the dog does a high-pitched yip, the dog through tone has deducted, okay, that's probably a pain response.
Right.
So, but what a lot of people do is they don't capitalize on the dog's natural languages, you know? All of a sudden, we're going to start using words, and we're just going to repeat them and think that that's going to stick.
That's going to do it. That's going to do it, right?
So going back to the mama dog video, we should get that up here someday. The mama dog video off of YouTube where she teaches her puppies through escalating.
Sam is so quick that maybe he can find it while we're talking.
I can send it to him.
Okay, but while you guys are doing that, I want to take I'm going to take that a little bit step further, and I want to talk about, especially with COVID going on, the pandemic going on. Whenever I am working with a dog, the very first thing that I do is take my mask off when I'm dealing with the dog.
Yep, and sunglasses.
Yeah, because I really want the dog to see my
Yep.
my facial expression and everything.
Yep.
My mouth, everything. The second thing I want to talk about, when people ask me, hey Steve, why are you talking to the dog then if this is true? And what I tell people is the reason why I talk to the dog is because I'm trying to get my language, my energy right.
Yep.
I understand the dog's not listening to me.
Yes.
But I'm trying to get my energy right. And the best way for me to get my energy right is talk to myself.
Yes.
Like, okay, stay cool. Okay, come on, I need you to do this. Come on, be patient. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think I'm just in love with this study because it just backs up what
it does.
What you and I.
And we tell people every single day.
Yes.
It's
how important your energy is.
Your energy is.
Stay calm.
Yes. If you have to give a reward, give it the right way.
Right.
Obviously, I mostly deal in the correction aspect of when I go in on a training session, and I'm there for a behavior to correct usually.
Right.
So I run into that a lot. But, the other side of that is that we see it a lot in people meeting dogs.
Right.
They do not sum up the body language of the dog as to how they should meet the dog.
Right.
If you see a dog that's cowering at you, don't squat down, look it in the eyes, and stick your hand in its face.
Right.
But people don't read the dog's body language, so it's like they're oblivious to that part of it.
Right.
And there's no verbal communication if the dog doesn't growl. So, hey, it's a wild card. No, it's not a wild card. The dog is sending you all the signals through body language.
And I think that's what people need to understand is when we're dealing with dog behavior, we're trying to teach the family to communicate to a dog the way dogs communicate with each other.
Yes.
And what the family always wants to do is they want to talk to the dog as if it's a family member, a human family member. And that's when people start to fail.
Yes.
Right? And so to me, that's if people are truly paying attention to me in the training session, it's so fun for me for them to see the light turn on.
Yeah,
and
I call it the aha moment.
Yeah, they get it. And I want people to understand too, and take a beat and let's focus on the pandemic for a second. How much more difficult is it to talk to a fellow human being and you're both wearing masks? Forget about the muffle of the voice.
Yep.
I can't see the facial tics.
All those expressions.
Yeah, I can't see that.
If we're running 93% off of body language you've now closed off the part that sends the most.
Right.
You put on a pair of sunglasses and you're a scrub.
Yeah, I literally was talking to a family yesterday during our taping, and it was a meet and greet for one of the dogs, and I wanted to talk to the family. And everyone that knows me knows I don't enunciate very well. My vocabulary is horrible. I'm 57. I should have a better command of the English language, which I do not. So I told the family, I'm going to take my mask off because I tend to be very animated. I want you to see my face and see when I'm angry or whatever.
Yep.
So you can further understand what I'm really trying to talk to you about, right? And I find that very interesting that we when we're talking to each other, we take it for granted that we're picking up the signals.
And a way that we see that a lot is the difference in communication between text messaging and real messaging. You don't get any of that context. Right. So you're like, do they mean this by that?
Right. Yeah. How many arguments have you been in with someone via email or text? You're like, no, that's not what I meant, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like, why are you on me? I didn't mean any disrespect.
Yes. No, it was one wrong word that was sent the wrong way and it was received the wrong way. But
or if it was in all caps.
Yes. Oh yeah. Don't send me a all caps message. Don't yell at me via text.
Right. But that's how my dad sends all his texts, right? Because he's, oh, here we go.
Okay.
So lay this out for me, Gary.
Okay.
What are we watching
So wait,
here?
we got to back this up.
Can we back that up a little? Sorry, Sam.
Okay, we'll get the gist.
So what Gary is about to show, and we love this.
There we go.
Because this is quintessential dog behavior. This is how dogs talk to each other.
We're going to have to walk this through real quick. Mama dog's coming in. It's feeding time. So she is not going to let puppies acting like this clamp onto her. So she's going to go through all the phases of escalation right here. She's going to stiffen up. Stiff. She's going to low growl. She's going to snap. Closer to them. See how the puppies respond? We're going to line up against the fence. They're getting the message.
Okay, that's so cute.
This little guy, wait, here he is. Doesn't get the message.
Watch this.
He's going to get pinned by his neck. That is what you need to do. This is dog communication.
Yeah, this is how dogs communicate with each other.
There's no words. It's
Right.
all emotion. And she ran through every list that you have to do as a person. This is what you should mimic.
Right.
You should start at strong eye contact.
Well, the only thing I kind of want to correct a little bit is it's not emotion, really. I mean, it's instinct.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's not using emotion at all, really, right?
No,
it's all structure.
Yeah, she is setting a boundary.
Right.
No, this is how they reinforce a boundary. Does it work?
Yeah, it works. Look how quiet they are
Oh
now.
my god, I'm obsessed with this video.
Isn't it great?
I show
love
it to almost all my clients. And when I tell people this is how you get dogs to respond to you, it's not going to be through words. It's not yelling. It's not getting excited. It's body language. And look, these dogs, it works. It didn't take one treat. She didn't tell him good boy one time or it's all right one time.
Right.
So this is how dogs communicate. It's through setting boundaries and enforcing those boundaries.
And then correcting the good, and then rewarding the good behavior. And if you notice, look how long she's making them wait, which I love.
Yep.
And making them stay steady.
You bit my tail.
Who bit my tail?
Yeah, I know it was one of you two.
You should probably mention the YouTube version for people who are listening.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. We found this on YouTube.
Yep, it's on YouTube. The video's called "Experienced Mama Dog Teaches Her 8-Week-Old Puppies."
Okay, I always see it on Instagram.
We'll post it in the show notes.
Well, and also if you
Yeah, we'll post it in the show notes. But anyway, Gary and I cannot talk about this enough. This is what we teach families. We teach families how to talk to the dog the way dogs talk to each other, especially the way a mama dog talks to a puppy.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect example. So if you notice, there was a couple of growls, a little bit of barking, but most of it was body language.
Yep.
Most of it was she comes in
It's
calm.
quickness. Yep.
She comes in calm
and it
confident.
escalates. Yep. And it escalates it.
There wasn't any hesitation.
Dogs always run on escalation. So if you're running on emotion, you've gone from here to here. And the dog doesn't make that jump.
Right.
The dog's, again, checks out. You're irrational. But the dog goes here, 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 here. The dog now knows, okay, this boundary's coming in hot and I better back off of it.
Right. So the one thing that Gary and I always want families to really take in, the number one most important thing to be a good dog owner is you have to lead. You have to lead confident. You have to lead with calmness. And once you do set the boundaries, whatever that boundary is, at your household, it can be whatever you want.
Yep.
But if the dog crosses it and doesn't do what he's supposed to, the dog gets corrected the same way that the mom would correct a puppy.
100% of the time.
100% of the time. And it's always the same correction.
Yep.
And it's always with the calm, confidence, energy.
Yep.
And that comes from your body language, not your words, not your emotion. Very hard to do.
Yeah, it is.
Especially for me.
Yep.
I'm
And
quick-tempered.
I always tell people, and I understand, when you take having to micromanage a dog's behaviors and run up the escalation ladder like that,
Right.
it's hard to do that and put it on top of your normal life. When you're
Right.
taking care of children, you're making dinners, you're going to work, you're
Right.
doing all that stuff.
Right.
So I completely understand the difficulty and the overlap of trying to do this. But I
Right.
tell people, if you do this, you micromanage your dog for a month, and you check them on every single time they step over a boundary, your dog will be cool.
That's right. Well, that's a perfect way to exit this awesome topic. Way to go.
All right.
All right, please stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have PJroche, founder of the Little Red Dog, in the set. PJ. Talk about body language.
Yeah. She'll back me down in a second.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for the Love of Dog. Totally good news. New Road is back with their food. However, it's only treats. That's okay. We love the treats. You saw Gary try them months ago. Either way, doesn't matter. They're great. They're terrific. Treats only. The promo code is REDDOG15, all caps. Type that in when you're ordering. You get a discount, plus we get a little bit of a donation. We love it. Please check it out. New Road. Thanks, everybody. Dear Meatloaf. You always have your computer. You always look so intelligent over there.
Well, I have my research.
Gary doesn't bring his computer.
He probably is smarter than I am.
He's not. Equally. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here in set with PJroche, co-founder of the Little Red Dog. PJ with the peace. Holding up a peace sign.
I'm doing a high five.
High five.
All right.
Who can do a good, a lot? Can you do a good?
last.
Do it. Do it.
I can do a great one.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Ow!
Redirecting. Okay. So
Jesus.
last week we
I
talked
have to go to the
about
hospital.
how we were getting a rescue dog in the White House, which we were all excited about. So it got me to thinking this week about the state of animals and politics, and some candidates are very animal friendly, some are not. So I thought it would be good to do like a little retrospective on Trump, since he's been there the last 4 years and he's done some good things and some other things not so great. So among the positive,
I'm assuming relative to animals. Is that what
relative
you're
to
going?
animals.
Okay.
I thought I made that clear.
You
but
didn't.
Okay.
No, that's my job is to make it clear.
Okay. Among the positive actions taken for animals under the Trump administration, the Environmental Protection Agency, plans to end all tests on animals, including mice, dogs, rabbits, by 2035. Seems a little bit far away, but that's good. At least it's happening in another 15 years. The agency will devote, I don't know why I can't talk today, $4.25 million to the development of non-animal testing technologies at 5 universities. So I think that's good. The Bureau of Land Management, also called BLM, agreed in 2019 to return to the 2014 policies where they can prevent horses from being funneled to slaughter. So a lot of the wild horses that are out there, they were taking them and taking them to slaughter. So that's been... and they allow individuals to buy 4 wild horses over a 6-month period. I don't know why that's important, honestly, but I guess they could buy more, which, they're wild horses and they shouldn't really be. I mean, they're not really fit for riding or to be a White House pet.
Right.
So the other thing is that the Department of Transportation issued a proposed rule. It has not been, it's not a law, but prohibiting airlines from banning certain breeds of service dogs. So if anybody kept abreast of the situation over the last few years, a lot of I think Delta and United and a few others banned pit bulls as a service dog.
Right.
Now, that did stem from people misusing that
term,
emotional support dog or animal or their service dog, and they were bringing dogs that weren't that,
right,
and or not taking safety precautions, and so like a passenger got bit, and so that led them to ban the pit bulls, which you and I know is stupid because it could happen to any dog.
Any dog, right?
So, there is a proposed rule that they cannot do that. But they're also prohibiting exotic animals like monkeys from flying as service animals, which, I think that makes perfect sense.
Flying monkeys.
Some things that were bad. Some things that were bad that were under the Trump administration is that the Department of Agriculture cut back drastically on the number of animal welfare act citations and enforcement actions. So that negatively impacts animals trapped in enterprises like puppy mills and roadside zoos.
Right.
Zoos.
Zoos.
Zoos. It sucks to be in a zoo.
I love public zoos.
Me too.
They're the best
puppy mills and
candy.
roadside zoos, and those are probably the animals that need the most protection, right?
Right.
They also did finalize a federal rule to do away with slaughter speed, which limits pig slaughter facilities. So that's a lot better for creating animal welfare and worker safety. It was a worker safety food nightmare. Wild fish in service, they finalized rules substantially weakening the Endangered Species Act regulations. So that's not a good thing, right? It's you want to strengthen those rules for the endangered species. So that's something that was bad. They removed ESA protections for gray wolves. Again, that's a hard one to really defend.
That's been going on for a while.
Yeah, but I don't know why you would have an emotional service animal as a gray wolf.
No,
I
you
just
can't. Yeah, you
wouldn't.
can't.
But or maybe I have that wrong. So that's what it says. So I don't know. Maybe it's
That's weird. Yeah, because there's a lot of controversy about the gray wolf.
Maybe
and,
it's
and the endangered species.
maybe it's
list.
not ESA. Maybe it's like an environmental protection. It doesn't really describe it here. So I think
Yeah, I think you.
I think it's I had
has
it
to do with the
wrong.
endangered species. Yeah.
Not endangered species.
Because they go
wolves,
on and off.
but-
They go
okay.
on and off the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to stop using abbreviations and give me the actual thing. But yeah, that makes way more sense, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I'm not going on any plane with a gray wolf.
I also know that they. I know that we also. They also took away protection of like hibernating bears and cubs, so big game hunters could shoot them. So that was a big one that he rolled back. There was also another.
Whoa. Read that again. So you're telling me that it used to be legal to go in?
It is
while they're
currently
hibernating.
it's currently legal to shoot a mom and her hibernating cubs while they're sleeping. Yes.
No shit.
Yes, and that was a big part
What the
because I think
hell?
it's Eric Trump that likes to shoot the big game, so he got Daddy to roll that back. Anyway, so
That's crazy.
it is crazy. I think it's disgusting. I mean, leave the freaking bears alone.
Well, I
when
mean,
they're sleeping.
You got to make it equal. Like go out with a bear, and you can only allowed to use a bow and arrow,
Yeah.
or maybe you're only allowed to use a hunting knife. Make it equal. Make it equal, right?
I agree.
You can't
Be
you
like
can't-
Wolverine. Put
Yeah.
a bunch of hunting knives on your hands and see if you guys can.
Yeah, it's not fair. You can get them while they're sleeping.
Yeah, no, it is.
That's ridiculous.
It
Jesus.
is legal now. So
Whoa.
hopefully we can turn that back. Now, I will say there was one recently that it was about a year ago, and President Trump signed a bipartisan bill for the first time that makes acts of animal cruelty a federal crime and punishable with fines and up to 7 years in prison. It was one of the strongest laws we have to protect, the prevention of animal cruelty and torture. So, you got to give him kudos to that.
Sure.
Because that was a huge one. But there have been a lot of things with the environment and some other endangered species that haven't fared as well. So I wanted to look up to see what Joe Biden's record on animal protection was, because I didn't know. And I guess he's for animal protection.
What's his stand on gray wolves going on planes?
I don't know yet, but
Okay.
I'll tell you, the dolphins he's voted, for the he co-authored
As a
with
support animal.
No,
No.
not as a support. I'm sorry. Try to be serious. This is actually, but he was amending the dolphin protection consumer information. So they're protect them when they fish for tuna. There, a lot of the dolphins were getting caught up in the nets,
Okay.
and so they have more protection, which is good. The Canadian seal hunt, which is terrible, and I still can't believe it goes on. It's been going on so many years, but he's also been urging that the Canadian government to end that seal hunt. But God, man, that's been going on for decades upon decades. He also was the lead author of the Captive Exotic. Is that me?
That's you. You're
I
here.
don't know what's going on. The can hunting. So the captive exotic animal protection. He was lead author to prohibit trophy hunting. So if people don't know about can hunting, they actually like have exotic animals in a very small area, and then people shoot them because then they feel like they're getting game. Yeah.
Right.
So again, another terrible, terrible, terrible thing. So he was trying to change those laws, and then also whales, which we used to watch
About the whale wars.
The whale wars.
Great show.
He also recommended to stop and oppose the trade of whale meat, and also has voted for amendments to do away with horse slaughter, animals in research, cruelty to animals like cockfighting, animal fighting. So he's voted or authored or done something with all of those things. So again, I think he has a better, even fur also against fur. So I think he's got a better track record, which is good. So hopefully he'll come in and do more. That's what we want, right? I mean, I think that the main thing is that we really need to have our politicians and lawmakers to have a platform of animal welfare. And I think that's, it's good that somebody has already got some experience with that and might be open to it. So I don't know what
I think I know we talked about this in previous shows, but the fact that he's got a rescue dog shows that he's tapped in, whether he did it as a PR move back in 2018 or whether he's just really feels strongly about rescue dogs. Either way, I find it impressive. It's still graded correctly. Whether he did it for PR, whether he did it because he likes rescue dogs, or whatever, it shows that he is, at least right now, he does seem like he's more in tune with the average American, I guess is my point.
Yeah, and people might think, why is that important? There's a lot going on that he's going to need to fix, right? Or his administration's going to need to fix. I mean, he's going to have to patch the U.S. back together, because we're so divided. He's got the pandemic still to deal with. But the reason why I believe is important is because animals are very important to many people. And I think it tells you a lot about a person if they're cruel to animals and don't care about animals. They probably don't care about humans much either. We know that's true from a sociopath perspective, right? I mean, they usually start harming animals and then go to people. So not that I'm saying anybody's a sociopath. I'm just saying that I do think it's important to have that as part of your platform. And to what your point, whether it was a PR stunt or not, and quite frankly, I don't know, because I didn't know until recently he had a rescue dog. I really didn't know a lot about Joe Biden. But I will say this, is that I like it when people use their platforms and their reputations and the pure reach that he has, right? To show people the other side. And I think the fact that he was against puppy mills, I think that shows that maybe he might be tapped in. I don't know, and then time will tell. Again, there's a lot to work on, but I think animal welfare is definitely something that should be on that platform.
Yeah, and what's the famous Gandhi quote? Like the way that you should always.
Sure, Sam could put it up there.
Well, it's a great quote.
The nation will be judged by the way
you treat animals.
Something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
also the way prisoners are treated. It's a very. I kind of forget about that sometimes. There are other things going on besides the economy and the pandemic and how you deal with simple human things like an animal. So it is important to get the overall character of a human being, for sure.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot right here. As it is the greatness. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated, and I think that says it all. I really think, and like you said, there's a lot to fix. There's a lot of people suffering out there. So obviously, we need to help the people. A lot of people suffering this year from lost jobs and lost homes. But I think that there's just a lot of suffering. So hopefully we can, like I said, bridge the United States back together and help the animals and the people all at the same time.
Absolutely. And Mr. Major, the dog, right?
Yeah, I think it's Major. You're
Major's
right.
Major's gonna help us get back on path.
Yeah, maybe he could head the committee.
Doges and mimosas.
Dotus.
Dotus.
Dog of the United States.
All right. I get it, PJ. Sam's telling me to wrap it up. All right. Well, that wraps it up. Thanks, PJ, for those stats and all that stuff. I did not know that, most of that anyway. Please tune in for the love of dog. Also, check us out at thelittlereddog.org. You can adopt, you can donate, you can volunteer. We need you. Thank you.